This video is for class 8 chemistry, and we are starting with the neutralization reaction. So if you read the definition, it reads as a chemical reaction in which a base or an alkali reacts with an acid to produce a salt and water only is known as neutralization reaction. If you are having any problem with the video issue, you can go to page number 78 in your book. So here we are coming across four new terms, which are base, alkali, acid, salt. Okay, so these are the new terms which are coming across. So these are the names of the compounds or different kinds of compounds. So to understand this, you can go to the green box in the same page, uh, which tries to explain what base is, what alkali is, and what acids is, what an acid is. Okay, so all metallic oxides, that means a compound formed between metal and oxygen. Like for example here, if you see here, copper oxide, so it is a compound formed between copper and oxygen, so it is known as a base. Another example in your book only, here if you check out this product here, this substance here, it is known as zinc oxide, a compound formed between zinc and oxygen. So or metallic hydroxides as the definition reads. So if you check this out, it is potassium hydroxide, so a compound formed between metal and hydroxide. The other one is here sodium hydroxide, a compound formed between sodium and hydroxide, metal and hydroxide. So these are the examples of bases. So bases are compounds which are formed between metal and oxygen, or metal and hydroxide. No other element is present. Okay, so uh, this was about bases. You learn more about bases in your higher classes. So whereas those bases that dissolve in water, so that means there are two categories of bases, one which dissolves in water, the other which does not dissolve in water. Here we are just concerned about those bases which dissolve in water, and the new name given to them is alkalis. So those bases that dissolve in water are known as alkalis. Those who does not dissolve in water, they are not known as alkalis. So the next term, we have to go to acids. So acids are the substances which when dissolves in water produces hydrogen ion. I hope you know what hydrogen ion is. So hydrogen ion means uh, is a as radicals. I think we have done radicals in our class. Radicals are the group of atoms which contains charge, or a single atom which contains charge. So here if you put acid in water, it can give only one positive ion, that is H plus ions. It cannot give any other positive ions. Like you have a list of radicals in your book, which you must have studied. Like there might be a calcium radical, sodium radical. There are many radicals with a positive sign, so positive radicals. But when acid is dissolved in water, it can give only H plus ions. So those substances which when dissolved in water can give H plus ions are known as acids. Okay, it cannot give any other positive ion. You'll learn more about acid in class 10. Okay, then if you want to go to the next situation here, then it is given in a reaction form. When acid reacts with base, it forms salt. Now this is the next term, salt. It is not in that green box also. Okay, now salt is another kind of compound formed between, like here, metal and non-metal. Bases were metal and oxygen, or metal and hydroxide. Acids were like those give H plus ions, like for example here HCl, hydrogen and chlorine. Then we have another acid like hydrogen and nitrate. So the common thing here in acid is hydrogen. There must be hydrogen, right? The other example here is nitric acid again. If you want to go here, it is sulfuric acid. So hydrogen should be there in the in a compound which is termed as acid. Hydrogen is must. Okay, so I hope you know what acid is. Now I hope you know what base is. I want to explain what salt is. Now salts are those compounds which are formed between a metal and non-metal, a metal and non-metal here, right? So salts are those compounds which are found between metal and non-metal. So therefore a neutralization reaction is a reaction in which acids react with bases. Acids are compounds containing hydrogen and a non-metal, bases which is metal and oxygen or metal and hydroxide, to give salt and water, right? Salt is a compound which contains a metal and a non-metallic part. So I hope you understood what is a neutralization reaction. Okay, so few examples: when sodium hydroxide, okay, alkali, reacts with HCl, which is acid, it gives me sodium chloride and water, which is a salt, right? Zinc oxide is a base which reacts with nitric acid to give zinc nitrate, which is also salt, right? There's something like the salt which you take in kitchen, and these salts are quite different. Whereas this salt is the salt which you take in your kitchen, which you use in your kitchen and you eat, right? This is sodium chloride. But whereas these salts, some might be poisonous also, some might not be poisonous, but they are termed as salt because the salt's definition is a compound formed between a metal and a non-metal other than hydroxide and oxygen. Okay, so these are the salts here, right? Now if you go to another example, it reads as potassium hydroxide reacts with sulfuric acid to give potassium sulfate, which is another salt plus water. And the last one is calcium oxide, which is a base, reacts with nitric acid to form copper nitrate, which is a salt, and then water. So neutralization reaction produces only two products, which is salt and water. Okay, now if you want to talk about activity 5 to show a neutralization reaction, I'll send you a link uh, in the in that material section in under the topic, if you are following the Google class, right? So this ends the video.